Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning. What a show we've got lined up for you today as well. Today's going to be a good one. I'll be joined throughout the morning by restaurant critic and MasterChef star Grace Dent will be here. And I'll be boarding the Royal Scotsman and taking a stunning trip through Scotland on this week's little food adventure. The Fat Duck's former head chef, yes, Jonny Lake, will be dropping by with a delicious recipe for lobster a little bit later as well. Looking forward to that one. And don't miss this week's Little Masterclass. We'll be teaching you everything you need to know about little dips. And if that wasn't enough, we've got a dip in the studio. It's a good friend of ours. It's Dipna Anand! You are nicknamed Dips, are you?
Dips, that's my nickname.
That's your nickname.
Quite cool, right?
Welcome back, it's quite cool.
Good to be here.
Good to be here, looking very smart.
Oh, thanks.
Very smart. What's on the menu from you then today?
So, I've got some banging, they really are banging, tandoori chicken burgers, epic.
I'm looking forward to this, because you're going to be cooking these outside as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
In your amazing pizza oven.
And Dad's going to be helping as well?
Dad's going to be helping. Dad needs to practice how to fry some fries, so we're going to get him to fry some fries. And then I'm putting potato bhajis into my burger, so we're going to get Dad frying those too.
Wow, looking forward to that one, looking forward to that. But we're kicking things off today with a recipe for a curried coconut lentil soup. Now, this I think you'll quite fascinating, really, but first of all, we talk about the ingredients that we're going to use. I'm going to get on and get this soup started. This is a really, really simple soup, to be honest with you. I'm going to use a pressure cooker for this. You can use a normal pan, but pressure cooker, it speeds up the cooking time. So the first thing we do is add to our pan, into our pan over here, a little bit of oil, just a touch. I can't believe I'm doing you a curried soup while you're here as well. Pressure's really on before we even start, before Jonny even walks in the...
Watching everything.
And I've got a food critic in the house as well. But anyway, that goes in. So we take our onions and our garlic, which I've just blended in here. There's no need to fry any of this, but that just goes in there. I'm going to take a Bramley apple, grate this, like this. You can have this recipe, Dipna, if you want. All right?
Let's see, James.
Let's see. So we grate the apple, leaving the little core, but you get a wonderful little sweetness from this and a little bit sharpness as well. So we get the apple like that, grated. It's really, really simple. That all goes into our pan. There we go. And then our curry powder. I'm going to use a mild UK curry powder. Bought in, not blended, not made my own. It's just a supermarket mild curry powder.
I was going to put a cross.
What's wrong with the cross? But this just wants to be a mild curry powder, nothing fancy.
I'm intrigued with the apple, actually.
Yeah, you see, that's going to go in there, all right? So a little bit of mild curry powder. And then we want a few curry leaves. Strip that off, put those in as well. So a few curry leaves. And then we're talking about our pulses and lentils and stuff like that. Now, the reason for this, we're going to explain where this comes from in a minute, and you'll find this quite fascinating. But in the mixture now, I'm going to add... I've got over here, so I've got some lentils and I've got some Carolyn peas, which are these. Both of which I've soaked overnight. So these are the sort of Carolyn peas that we've got in there. And I'm going to pop that, just soak them in water. They're going to go into our mixture here, together with the lentils. You don't have to soak the lentils for this one, but I just have. But you don't have to. You can just put the lentils in as they are, actually, because these will take about 30 minutes to cook anyway. But just to speed up the process, even though we're going to use a pressure cooker as well, all the lentils go in as well. So they're going to go into our mixture. Now, the only thing we need to add to this now is a little bit of vegetable stock. That's going to go in. And then pop the lid on. Now, obviously, this is a pressure cooker. There's different types of pressure that you can cook in. So that goes on there. And I would just put it on just half bar, which you've got in there. You've got the full whack, which is 2 nodules there, and then I just put it on the half bar like that. And you want this just to gently cook for about 30 minutes, all right? Now, I'm going to blend this, but before I blend it, hopefully we're going to speak to Josiah Meldrum from Hodmadods, which I think is a brilliant name, in Suffolk, to hear the story behind these amazing pulses. So I can see you on the line. Josiah, are you there? Good.
Hi, James.
Surrounded by pulses behind you as well. So... Tell me, Dipna's here as well. So tell me, I saw you watching that. Tell me how this all started, because this is quite fascinating. Because all of these are grown in the UK. It surprised me when I heard about this. Tell me how it all started. How did you get involved in it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
two friends and I, Nick and William, were running a project for a small regional NGO, non-governmental organisation. We were looking at what a sustainable diet might look like for a small city like Norwich, and whether we'd need to change what we eat and change what we grow. And one of the things that we realised is that we need to be eating more of these amazing vegetable protein crops, beans and peas, lentils. Broadly, they're called pulses. And we thought that would mean encouraging farmers to grow things that they weren't used to growing. And the massive revelation for us about 10 years ago was that actually the UK produces huge quantities of pulses. We just don't eat them. So things like fava beans, which are a dried broad bean, or the carlin pea, which you're using in the dal, that's been grown here. Both have been grown here probably for thousands of years, and were a really important part of our diet up until we got rich about 400 years ago, and were able to keep meat and eat meat through the winter. So, yeah, they just completely disappeared. And we got so inspired by that we decided to see if we could encourage people to eat them in the UK. And that's really what we've been doing for the last 10 years.
So tell us about the mixture that we got in here, because you were surprised, Dipna. I mean, we were chatting to this earlier before we came to you about chickpeas. I never knew, it sounds daft, I've been cooking all my life. I never knew chickpeas grew in the UK. Never knew it.
Well, arguably they only just grow in the UK.
Right.
We've been trialling them for a few years. It's only really in the last couple of years that we've grown them in a kind of commercial quantity. They're not easy, and I think it's a really positive and exciting story that we're able to grow chickpeas here. But the backdrop of that is that we're getting fewer frost-free days, and there's a sort of climate change story in the background. And I think a lot of these crops, because they're part of more sustainable rotations, are all about climate adaptation and how we adjust our diet.
So where are you? Where, I'm just going to blend this in a minute, but where are you growing things like where do you grow lentils from in the UK, and where are you growing quinoa, and where are the chickpeas from? I'm presuming that's south, is it? Must be, is it?
Yeah, I mean, so the chickpeas are grown in Norfolk. They're grown in the Brecks, which is quite dry, and they love it there. The lentils, they'll grow almost anywhere. They're being grown up in Scotland for us. It's remarkable. You think of them as being this warm climate crop, but they're not particularly. The quinoa, mainly the south of England. Further north, it gets harder and harder to grow. But yeah, we work with a big network of farmers, probably 25 or 30, all of whom are really excited about all these innovative crops and delicious foods, really, and this idea that these are just animal feeds, which historically they have been in the UK. But actually, they're amazing. Carlin peas have this fantastic cultural history in the north of England.
So tell us about the carlin peas, because I mean, you must use these as well, don't you?
We don't, but I'm intrigued to use them. I'm definitely taking this with me.
You're taking that with you. So tell us about the carlin peas, because I've read a little bit about them, and that's why I was excited to cook with them. But tell us about the history of these.
Yeah, so they're... Before we had kind of yellow and green peas, dried peas, that we're sort of familiar with as split or whole, we had these field peas, which were darker brown coloured. And that pigmentation in the skin is anthocyanins. It's really good nutritionally. And they used to be eaten all over Northern Europe, but particularly in the UK. And they have these traditions in the Black Country, for example. They're cooked, they're boiled, and they're just cooked with butter and bacon and often with some bitter greens. In the north of England, they just boil them up, and it's called parching, but essentially it's serving them with salt and vinegar and a bit of black pepper. And you can still buy them in Preston on the flag market there. There are stalls. You can get a little cone of parched peas.
It's interesting you say that. I think I've tried these once before, and I think I've forgotten about them over the years. That's it, with a little bit of salt sprinkled on the top. And yeah, I've tried these before as well. They taste unbelievable. But what about you mentioned climate change and that kind of stuff? Is that affecting you going forward? I suppose it is quite dramatically, isn't it?
It's the uncertainty more than anything else. And that's where this diversity of crops on a farm, the more different things you've got growing, the more likelihood you are to have success with some of them. So introducing diversity onto farms of crops gives farmers this kind of capacity to always get something worthwhile and growing crops together. So the carlin peas, for example, will often grow with a cereal together at the same time, and then they're separated after harvest. And those two crops help each other grow through the year. So the cereal holds the peas up and makes them easy to harvest. Meanwhile, the pea does this amazing thing where it takes nitrogen from the atmosphere, works with bacteria in the soil, fixes that nitrogen and uses it to grow. but some of it is free and available to the cereal crop to grow as well. So it does this amazing thing of using less synthetic nitrogen.
But you're doing other bits and pieces as well. So tell us about what we've got on here. So not only just you can get all your different types of oats and your grains and your quinoa. This is you've got the fava bean paste. You've got these sort of this is like a little snack, is it, that you've got in here? These little split peas.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So just taking the. I mean, you'd be familiar with this in Bombay mix. It's like an element of
I was just going to say.
Yeah, you can take those peas and just roast them, season them, and you've got a really delicious snack. And for people who think they don't like peas and beans, that's often the moment when they realise they do, because they're so good.
Amazing for like Indian street food as well. So like a samosa chat.
Yeah, you can put them on top of things. Yeah, put them on a chat, that kind of thing. Really nice.
Well, I wish you and I wish the farmers the very, very best of luck with all this sort of stuff. And, you know, when I get out and about in the summer, I'd love to come over and see one of the farms and see it grow and stuff like that. I find it absolutely fascinating. Yeah. It really is. And this is one of the joys of doing this. We set this up about 2 years ago in lockdown to support all the producers around the UK. And we've found true gems over the years, and you're one of them as well, and the producers that are supplying it. So I want to say thank you. It's fantastic. And wish you all the best of luck with it.
Thanks, James. That's really appreciated.
And if you get a big order for 25 to 50 kilos, it's this one over here.
Excellent. Well, we'll look forward for that one.
Right, okay. Good to see you. Thank you very much. Cheers.
You too. Thank you.
See, we're just going to finish off this soup now. Look at this. This is coconut milk. We just take a little bit of this in there. And then I've got the fried curry leaves, which are beautiful. And we just put a few of these fried curry leaves over the top with a few of these split peas with a little bit of the oil over the top. So there you have it. You know, I love lentil soup anyway, but that is without doubt the nicest lentil soup I've ever made.
We'll see about that, James.
We'll see. You wait and see. Wait and see. That's the one. Right, the pressure's really on then.
Let's see what all the noise is about, James. Let's
see what all the noise is about.
If I like this.
I'm going to go get your dad. He'll stick it on the menu.
Right. Wowzers, wowzers. That is off the hook, isn't it? That's going in my next book. It's going on my menu. I shouted it first.
Great. Dipna will be making a reasonably decent chicken burger a little bit later on. There are better ones available. But anyway, I'll be chatting to Grace Dent very shortly. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, Dipna will be trying to answer some of your culinary questions. This is going to be fun. She's going to do it all on her own. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be giving you a masterclass in dips a little later, and I'll be cooking a korma turbot for Gracie Dent very shortly. But first, I'm here in the kitchen with Dipna and Anand, and the two of us are going to have a go at solving a couple of your kitchen dilemmas. So first of all, we should be on the line now, joined by Catherine in Preston. Are you there, Catherine?
Hello, James.
In your shiny kitchen. I love speaking to you lot at home. All your kitchens are immaculate every time you speak to you. First of all, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. And what would you like to ask us? Because this is quite an interesting question, this one. It's a good one.
I'd like to know how to make crumpets without opening a plastic bag and popping them straight into the toaster.
Well, first of all, you don't need a toaster for this. You can't possibly cook them in a toaster. You can warm them up in a toaster. But first of all, to make crumpets, what you've got on here is a selection of ingredients. So we start off with two different types of flour. Plain flour, buckwheat flour. I put a little bit of baking powder in here. You don't have to. Fresh yeast, some sugar, water and milk. And what you want to do, really, for this is just combine all this lot together to create a little batter. That's what you want. So we just take this, mix it together, like that. A little bit of sugar that goes in, some water, touch, and then some milk. But also, while we get this to a paste, we take some yeast. Now, you can use either fresh yeast or dried yeast. It's up to you. It depends which one you can get. But my milk and water for this is slightly warm, so it'll just help the yeast a little bit as we go. It's entirely up to you, but you just mix that together. And what you do is you're forming a little batter with this. Mix it all up like that. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to make these before, have you, Catherine?
No, I've only ever bought them. My husband likes to have a hot crumpet when he comes in after walking the dog.
All right, okay, well...
And I just thought it would be nice to have some homemade.
Well, fantastic. Well, this is the very beginning of it. Now, you have to plan the dog walk, because the next bit, what you do, is you have to put it in the fridge. Now, I put it... You don't have to put it in the fridge, but I leave it in the fridge overnight. And it just gradually starts to bubble up. Now, you can, if you want, just cover this over, leave it, and after about an hour and a half, it'll start to bubble and puff up a little bit as that yeast starts to work. But in the fridge, we end up with this. Now, I don't know whether you have anything. Do you cook anything like this in India? No.
No. The most similar thing would be like a dosa.
Yeah, similar sort of thing. But what you end up with is this sort of mixture over here. You can see this starting to puff up and bubble up a little bit. Now, the important bit, the crucial side of it, is the cooking of it. Because what you do, traditionally this would be cooked at an open flame on a skillet. But you start off, we can now use the rings and electric hobs. It's much more controllable. So what you want to do is take a little bit of butter, and you get the butter, and it's really important, this bit, that you butter the ring that you're using. So go all the way right inside it and butter it really well, because this will stick if you don't do this. Now, you start off with a little bit of oil and just use a touch of veg oil. It's only a tiny, tiny bit. You can see that just in the pan. I'm cooking quite a few of these in here. But it's really important that the temperature is really low. So on this stove here, I've got it on number 1. It's really quite a low temperature. And then you can take this mixture now. You see that? And we just pop it straight into the ring. Now, this will double in size. So whatever mixture you put in, it's going to be twice the size when it comes out. So you only want that much. And while it gently cooks, mustn't knock this batter around. You just treat it like that, and you keep making these. Now, the good thing about these, once you've made a batch, they will keep. They'll freeze really well, and you can put them in the fridge. And then when you want them, you can toast them under the grill, that kind of stuff. But what you want to do now is just gently cook them. After about sort of 4 or 5 minutes, gentle heat, you can then lift these out, look. Easy as that. Then when you get to that point, is then you take a little palette knife and turn these over. But it's really important you cook these nice and gently. I cannot stress that enough. Now, if your mixture's risen up, I wanted to show you this, I put a little bit too much mixture in this one. If you get to that stage and they're risen up too much, you can flip them over like that, and the mixture will leak out a little bit. You need asbestos hands for that one. But a little bit of that. Now, don't worry about this point, because if it leaks out a little bit like that, you can keep cooking it. As long as it seals on the bottom bit, what you want to do is then take this off like that, take the metal ring again, put it over the top, and cut it out. And you put it back in the pan. You've got the perfect size. But the key to this, really, is this temperature. Slow cooking. And this is just a little bit of oil. You can flavour this a little bit. As you start to cook a little bit more, you can put a little bit of butter in there as well. But you can see the amount. It's not swimming in the stuff. It's just sat in there nicely, that slow cooking. So when you finish with it... How long has it taken to get them to... Probably about 4 or 5 minutes, something like that. The most important bit, you put the filling in like that. If you take it off too soon, what happens with it? It just collapses. But you'll know when it's right. It's just practice, confidence of getting that right. As it gradually cooks, I'll show you one. This has just been cooking gently, but if I lift this off, see what happens. Look, it falls. But what you want to do is gently cook this, and then you end up with nice little crumpets that we've got in here. But like I said, you can put these in the fridge, you can put them in the freezer, and then when you want to warm them up, you can warm them up. But what you end up with by doing this, you end up with a beautiful that sort of rich crumpet that you get with a little bit of butter, which I'm going to serve to Dipna. It goes with that. But you've got this rich buttered crumpet that you want. You can, like I said, it's probably a bit too thick to put it in the toaster. It might get stuck, but just to reheat these, pop these under the grill. They taste amazing. There you go. You can take that little top one. Well, while they're still warm. All right? But a nice little bit of butter. But that's how you make crumpets. Nice and easy like that. But slow cooking. If you take it off too early, that's what happens. All right? How's that?
Oh, thank you.
That's
Perfect.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Well, best of luck with that. Taste all right?
Those are proper crumpets.
Proper crumpets. There you go. Right, next on the line, all the way from Northamptonshire, we've got Joyce. Hey there, Joyce.
Hi, James. How are you today?
Very well. Another shiny kitchen as well that you've got in the background, all that. So how can we help you? What's your question?
Well, I've noticed recently that you're not using so much of the rock salt and you started to use a bit of ordinary table salt. So I was intrigued as to why you sort of changed a bit into what the different flavours are and what is best for what sort of dishes. And also, I'd like to know a bit more about pink salt. Why, has it got a different flavour to everything else, or?
Okay, well,
it's...
Well, salt's a fascinating subject, really, and you're very, very aware, and you're not the first person who noticed that I've got 2 salt pots here now. I use a combination of the 2, so I've got a little bit of table salt and I've got sea salt. Now, some things I use sea salt for, some things I use table salt for. It's just if I'm seasoning anything that's generally pan frying anything, I'll use table salt because it's just going to fall off. That kind of stuff. So if I'm using anything that I want that flavour on a piece of fish or you want to firm up the fish, I generally stay away from sort of sea salt. More of a finishing salt this. The 2 taste very, very different. And this is the fascinating subject with salt. And I'm going to run through a few of the selections that we've got in here. And the thing about this, I'm not going to cook anything with it, but just to run through the different types. First of all, salt you can get from anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. So we're going to start off with the pink salt that you were on about. So this is Himalayan rock salt, all right? So this is mined. It's in caves. It's in the mountainous regions of the Himalayas. Pure natural salt. It's got tons of great vitamins and minerals in there that's great for us. And some say about 80 different types of vitamins and minerals that we need for our body as well. Because people think of salt and think it's a bad thing. They've got great things. This is a pure natural ingredient. They just mine it and it's got this lovely pink hue on it. Now, these are the sort of, you can get it also ground. You can get it in crystals like this. With the crystals, you either sprinkle this on top of dishes if you wanted to. You can put this in a salt grinder. So if you were using a salt grinder or crushing it, that's the type of salt that you would use. Then you're looking at all your types of sea salts predominantly. Now, all over the world they produce this. Some are heated and dried out over baths. Some are just left to dry out naturally with the wind, with the sun, that kind of stuff. Obviously, it takes longer. You've got, obviously, the Malden salt, which you're obviously all used to as well from Essex. And then we've got a variety of different salts over here. We're going to venture off into France and stuff like that. You've got this one. This is the one that we got coloured over here. Now, it looks almost like the salt that you put on your driveways. You know that one? It's in the winter. But this is quite famous. It comes in, it's a beautiful colour to this. But it comes, if you look at where Paris is and go sort of west, it's right on the coastline there. And they've got this amazing sort of salt there. It does look like grit, doesn't it? But yeah, the taste of it is incredible. It tastes really unique. I don't know if you try this one, but this is, just have a little taste of the crystals of that. But when you taste it, you can taste the sea straight away. It's very different to the others. Different, quite an earthy sort of taste to it as well, but one that's absolutely amazing. So the different ones I've used for a variety of different things. That's that one. But then you go to the Premier League of salts, and these are the Premier League. This is called Fleur de Sel. I don't know if you've ever been to the south of France?
Sadly, no.
Well, whenever you get a chance to go to the south of France, you go to the south of France, right down near Saint-Tropez, all around there, you've got the Camargue, and it's quite an unusual place. You've got these salt flats that grow not far from the sea, but they let the salt dry out and they shovel it in, and they sweep it all in. And there's wild flamingos on the... People don't believe me. They have got wild flamingos that go on these salt plains that use the salt water to cleanse themselves, but to feed on. But they've got wild flamingos down there on the south coast of France. It's in the Camargue. The fleur de sel is really the classic one. And the price varies massively. You're on about, what is a quid, £2 for something like the table salts, to upwards of 30 quid for a little pot like this of the Camargue fleur de sels. Hopefully that answered your question, and happy shopping, because it's a massive subject.
Yeah, thank you. I must admit, it'd be interesting to see if I can find the one that's in the south of France, anywhere local.
You'll get that. You'll get all of them online. You'll get all of these online. But remember, the rock salt's not from the sea. It's from the mountainous regions, usually the Himalayas, but from all over the world. And then the different types of salt you can see from the colours. It's all from the sea. But look at the different types of colours that you get here from, and like I said, from Scotland, from Wales, from Essex to Cornwall, to France, to the south of France, and then obviously mid-northern France that we've got over here as well. The difference in colour is massive, but there you have it. There you go. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or anything to do with food, then drop us a line to one of our addresses on the screens right now. We'll try to answer them on the future shows. Still to come, I'll be giving you a masterclass in dips, and Dipna Anand and Jonny will be cooking for us very shortly. I'll see you in a minute. Get yourself ready. Welcome back. Now, coming up, I'll be letting the train take the strain on a food adventure to Scotland, and there's a masterclass in dips on the way a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a journalist, author, presenter, podcaster who's made a career about comfort eating. It's the fabulous Grace Dent! Oh, why do we have food critics in my house? Why, oh, why?
It's so lovely to be here.
Welcome to the house. Oh, it's a pleasure to have you. Well, we've met loads of times. We've filmed before as well.
We have.
I mean, we're going to talk about how you first of all got into food, but I know you love your food. But I wanted to create you a wonderful little dish. This is all done in real time. 8 to 10 minutes this is going to take. It's going to be a korma-style sauce with pan-fried turbot, because I know you love your turbot. So.
I love turbot. 8 to 10 minutes.
8 to 10 minutes. Done.
Okay.
All right? So
I trust you.
You can time it if you want, but it's a nice little korma-style sauce. So running through, we've got some onions and garlic. I've got some garam masala, a little bit of mace. We've got some cardamom. That's the main one, first of all. And we're going to start just frying off this onions and garlic, first of all, in our pan, sweating this off. So I'll fire this up a little bit and start cooking that with the cardamom and the curry leaves and everything else.
I notice you've put a tea towel over the fish's face so he's not looking at me. You know me too well, don't you?
There's a saying in my industry, don't cook anything for Gracie that's ever got a face on it. And I've just suddenly realised that the fish is pointing straight at you, really. But
look, it's just.
What is it about that?
I prefer not to think about the face. You know when you're in a restaurant and they come to your table and they tell you the CV of the cow. Right. And they start to go through, they go, this was a cow, and he lived here, right. And then he retired, and then he had a lovely time in the field, and all the time they're telling that story, I can think of the sad ending, so I'd just rather not. I don't eat a lot of meat and fish at home. Right. I eat it when I go out for my job, but I do love vegan food. Yeah. And if I can get away with not eating things that have faces,
I'm doing vegan food in the show. I think vegan food. I mean, it's had to really. Chefs have had to embrace it, absolutely. Really, because it's a growing. It's not a trend.
No, it's not.
And I don't like the word trend because trend means that it comes in and out of fashion. It's not. It's here to stay.
I'm always excited when I go somewhere and they're doing something with like celeriac or Brussels sprouts.
Salt-baked celeriac.
Oh. I love salt-baked celeriac. Yeah. No, I mean...
Deep-fried sprouts? Have you ever tried deep-fried sprouts?
I love a deep-fried sprouts. I love sprouts with, well, this isn't vegan at all, but lots of cream and parmesan. I mean, obviously, you've still got the kind of the sproutness, but it is just basically a pudding.
It is, So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take our little bit of spices over here, a little bit of mace, a little bit of garam masala. That's going to go in there as well. And then before we start toasting off the spices, which you're going to burn, then what we do is take our cashew nuts. These have been soaked in water overnight. And it's these that's going to form the basis of our sauce. Think of it like a thickener to our sauce. In we go with coconut milk. In we go with cream and yoghurt.
OK.
So whipping cream and yoghurt. And we're going to cook that just ever so gently for a little bit. But food critic, you never... This is not what you started off life wanting to do, really, because you obviously a journalist. You wanted to be a journalist. Is that right? Or...
Well, no. I mean, I wanted to write. I've always wanted to write books and write features and columns and make people laugh. I was never...
Well, make people laugh or...
Make people laugh, yeah. I like to write... I mean, I think I do with my restaurant criticism. Not if you're a chef and I've closed down your restaurant or something, no, but... No. But I always like to make people laugh. I mean, a lot of the time, I am just writing about eating pasta in a room that was mainly white, you know? And it's being able to... I think that people come most weeks to read my column on a Saturday because, one, they're hiding from their children, so they're just having 5 minutes. And I think they think, what's Grace been up to this week? And it's the ability to kind of take them on a journey to a restaurant that... I don't know whether what I write inspires every single person to go to that restaurant, but I like to think that I take them just out of their life and show them what it's like to spend... Well, you know how easy it is these days to spend £200 on dinner in somewhere fancy, which is a ridiculous thing almost to say, the way that, you know, bills are going up and stuff. But it is. It's just, I think I like to take people on a journey.
And I mean, you've seen over the time that you've been writing as well, the food industry's dramatically changed.
Oh,
you know, some of it's changed for the better, some of it's changed for the worse. It depends. But generally, on the whole, I think for the better.
Well, you know, it's
food started to get a bit weird and wacky, don't you think?
Well, I'm glad that it's weird and wacky because it makes my job a lot easier when you get to a restaurant and they're serving... And first of all, it's not a proper table. You're kind of sitting on an upturned crate somewhere and, you know, it's combinations that you've never had before. And the best thing ever is when you leave hungry and you're really fancying a burger on the way home. Yeah, look, I'm glad that it's weird and wacky. But,
what's the temptation is that? Do you go on your own? Well, because obviously...
No.
You go with...
I don't eat alone very often, just because I feel there's a lot of pressure then when people are coming out and serving food. They're nervous enough already, you know, their hands are a bit... And even, I think if I'm sitting as a judge, it's a bit scary. I have a small set of people that I eat with all the time who are just used to it. They're used to, these are friends of mine, some family, they're just used to the kind of silent chaos that happens when I go into a room. So
tell me about this, because you're doing some interesting stuff at the moment. Tell me about this podcast, because this is, you're here at my house. This is, I believe, at your house. This is...
Yeah.
Tell me about this, how this started, then.
I do a podcast from my own house called Comfort Eating with Grace Dent. It's about what people actually eat behind closed doors that they don't often talk about. And then before you know it, you're hearing about their childhood and going to school and their relationship with their parents, and it's just a good way.
Because you've had everybody from Stephen Fry.
Yeah, but Stephen Fry. We had Russell Tovey. We had Dave from the Hairy Bikers the other day. We've had, you know, we have people same as you. This is why I've been really interested coming here, because you have people at your house, and I have people at my house. But do you not run around before people come trying to hide things? Because...
Do that all the time here.
Yeah. Like, do you try and hide
Trouble
things?
is they keep finding the damn stuff.
I keep, like... Because when I came in, I thought, like, there's a lot of things here. There's a lot of stuff. There's too much to hide. Whereas, like, I'm much more minimalist than you. But I'm still running around, like, taking pictures down and trying to almost... have a front that my life is perfect, but it's...
Mine is just chaotic, like this room.
Yeah.
But it's organised chaos, I always think.
It is... I mean, I have had to look around. It's like because I spend so much of my time in East London that I really felt when I was coming into the drive, it's like another world completely. Yeah, and you know, it's like, whoa, I've come to, Planet U.
Planet me.
Planet
right, look.
you.
So, look, we've got our turbot over here. What I'm going to do is just finish this off, because this is quickly finished. We've got our sauce done. The turbot you cook with this amazing sort of foaming butter. This is the key to this. You finish it off with the foaming butter. And then once you've got the foaming butter over the top, you know, I mean, this is how you finish off the fish anyway. In the restaurants, you finish off with this lovely foaming butter, salt and pepper. What I do is just, before we serve it, we just take lime juice, lime zest, just over the top, and a little bit of lemon zest over the top. And just leave that sit there. And then the sauce is done, more or less. That's that one. So we've got the fish, we've got the sauce.
Oh, you're a little dog.
Yeah, it's all right, you see, look at that. So, cheers, Ralph, for deflecting away from me. There you go.
Oh, little dog.
Yeah, I know, he's the superstar of the house. Yeah. But we just take a nice little bit of sauce, like that, with your cashew nuts. Then you've got your lovely, lovely turbot. Sits on there.
That is a beautiful plate of food.
And then, plate this off, and then we've got a combination of fresh chilli, a few bits of that, and you take this, you just sprinkle that over the top. And then finally,
colour coordinated.
we take some coconut, fresh coconut, and you take this and you just peel it, like that.
Wow.
That's the first guest that's ever stood up when I've been plating it.
Oh, yes, do you know, it's, I think it's just...
Yeah, and
I find it fascinating because I never plate things like this. You know, I do cook at home. Right. I cook quite simple things, and my presentation leaves much to be desired. And I'm fascinated because that was so instinctive to you. That was just like, pfft, but you just did it.
I've been doing it a long time, but there you have it.
Yeah.
It's 40 years on a plate for Grace Dent. A beautiful bit of pan-fried turbot, lime and lemon, cashew nuts, deep-fried curry leaves with a korma sauce. Done. Bon appetit.
Thank you very much. Am I allowed to eat?
Of course you're allowed to eat.
I feel like...
Of course you're allowed to eat, exactly. Well, it's got no face now, so you're right. It's just... But hopefully you like it. Save room for main course. Is this just
wow. Oh, that's really good.
Happy with that? You see,
yes.
This is the second food critic I've had at the house on the show, and you're just thinking, you're sat there going, what on earth am I going to do? What am I going to cook? What am I going to do? So I just thought, I'll just do something that I like to cook.
Oh, there is heat.
Yeah, it's a little
bit
chilly.
But it's a heat that just comes in.
Yeah, it's fresh green chilli at the end.
But I got...
The fish is beautiful, though. 4 minutes in the oven.
So beautiful.
Oof, like that, with a little bit of lime juice, lime zest on the top. Lovely. But you like that one?
I absolutely love it.
Good. Well, there's more to come as well. You're going to stick around for the rest of the day. Looking forward to today. It's going to be a great show today. I'll be cooking beef puddings for Gracie a little bit later on the show. And we've got a food adventure aboard the Royal Scotsman a little bit later. But join me after the break when the former head chef, this is a serious restaurant, the former head chef of the Fat Duck, Mr. Jonny Lake, will be firing up these very stoves for the very first time at the house. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be sharing some recipes for dips in this week's Little Masterclass, and there's plenty more to come from my guest Grace Dent a little bit later. But first, I'm here with a Canadian chef who's won 3 Michelin stars at the Fat Duck before going it alone as a new restaurant in London. It's the fabulous Jonny Lake. Jonny Lake. Now, it's been a long time we've been asking for you, but you've finally arrived. New restaurant, amazing dish. This looks fantastic. What are you going to be making for us?
So we're going to make a dish, it's called drunk lobster trivet noodles.
Sounds pretty good to me. I know you want to crack on with it, and I'll let you get started. Okay. So we start off with a lobster tail.
So it's we're going to start off with a lobster tail. We've already cooked the claws. Yeah. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to kind of steam the tail in its shell in a pan with some of the lobster stock, some dashi, and some sake.
Sounds pretty good.
And at the same time, we're going to cook the noodles in another lobster stock with sake.
So where did your love of food come from? Your Canadian upbringing. Where does it? Because you've travelled so much. We'll get onto that in a minute. Was that back home, or where did it? Or was that as certain bits of your life where I've Italy and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really start cooking until I had to cook for myself, really. Yeah. When I was kind of finishing my university and in Montreal, in Canada. And all of a sudden, I've got to kind of fend for myself, and I just got quite interested in it. Right. And I started cooking at a Meals on Wheels in Montreal, where we would make the meals. It was right around the corner from my house. Right. We would make the meals and then deliver them on bikes to people who couldn't get out, older people. I just went from there, really. So at the same time, in this pan, we're going to add. This is some lobster stock with sake.
So this is quite important. It's the measured amount of lobster stock. This is where you get into where you are now in terms of the fat duck. This is not just throw it in and throw it in.
No.
You measure that for the amount of noodles.
It took a long time to figure out. Right. But I mean, where the kind of inspiration from this dish came from kind of two different places, really. One of the last trips that I was very fortunate enough to go to Japan, northern Japan in Hokkaido, and having like real soba noodles and just like really blew my mind.
So it's quite interesting when you look at your career from Canada. You moved quite early on to Italy. Yeah. But like you say, from Meals on Wheels to a 3-star Michelin, one of the best restaurants. Well, that particular time, the best restaurant in the world. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but you ended up, was it your 30s or something like that? You ended up with the Fat Duck or something like that?
Yeah. I mean, even like when I did spend about 3 years in Italy in different spots, and I mean, I did start a bit later.
But wasn't it in Italy where you suddenly, there must have been a point where you go, this is the type of food that I want to go into, because as a chef, you kind of, you try a little bit of everything and then go, actually, this is where I want to go.
Yeah, I think I definitely fell in love with all the food and, just the people and the passion for food in Italy. Yeah. That's where it really took off for me, I would say. And
you mentioned Japan. I mean, Japan's phenomenal anyway in food, whether it's be it noodles, whatever it is.
The chef's
purity of it is just incredible.
And just the level at any type of restaurant or whatever, just the like dedication and the, to the ingredients.
You must have had that dedication, because you had that at the Fat Duck. You now have gone off on your own. Tell us about your new place then. Where can people witness and taste your food?
So in November 2019, I opened Trivet Restaurant with my partner Isa Bao, who's the master sommelier.
He's master sommelier, pretty decent at wine as well. I mean, very, very, very globally respected. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, he doesn't carry himself that way. He's a very down-to-earth guy. Yeah. Still works in a restaurant, like not many do.
Brilliant. Yeah.
We worked at the Fat Duck together for almost 13 years. And then I think, just one day I called him. I said, can you meet for a coffee? And I said, are we doing it?
And how have you found that, having the place of your own? Is everything you thought it would?
I just, every day I kind of just have to remind myself how lucky I am. Yeah. It's every chef's dream to have their own restaurant.
It is.
And, but not many get to do it. And I got to do it, and it's in London. And I can't believe it.
And you say London. I mean, I've read about you as well, but London, it's amazing that the respect globally that people have for London in terms of the food scene. It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, that happened. Can I talk this way?
Yeah.
Okay. That happened around that time. Yeah. Where when I was attracted to come back to the UK. Yeah. And it was everyone's focus was on London at that time, and everywhere I was, that's what I was reading about.
So what goes into that? You put the claws in there, but you're going to add some other things into it as well. What's this miso that you're going to add as well?
So to finish it, and this will kind of make, let's say, the sauce of the plate.
Right.
I'm going to. These are now kind of warmed through. and I'm going to add some sweet white miso, and whisk that through, cook it out, and that'll end up being the sauce to the dish. Almost there.
It's what I love about when chefs come here, they bring their own tools. The only other person who brought a tray like this was Claire Smith. These little trays.
They're amazing.
They won't tell me where you get them from, but are they Japanese trays?
Yeah, I brought this one back from Japan.
They are.
With me,
I thought they are.
You can get them here now, but
I thought they are. And I love the little pot that you got in there, that little ingredient pot. Look at this.
Yeah.
So what's this you got in there?
So this is it's called Sakyo Miso. It's a sweet white miso.
Okay.
Used in desserts. But we're going to use it here.
So this is not any just white miso you get from the supermarket. It's not.
It's a lot. It's like same, big umami kind of hit.
Yeah.
But in a much kind of gentler way. Not no bitterness. So just take that off. Not get it too hot. And I really like this dish because you're kind of using everything, and it's all kind of. It's the other bits of the lobster in the stock.
You're not draining anything off. You're not losing any flavour. It's all in the pan. Everything's all together.
Everything's there.
Looking forward to this one. And interesting, the only other chef that warms their plates in their kitchen, Mr. Brian Turner. These plates are in the oven. There you go. And you brought your own plates as well. They're not my plates.
I think I'm sure you've got some nice plates, but these I know this is the right size. So we're going to we'll just pass our sauce now. Yeah. Through this little.
And interesting, salt and pepper with this.
There's a lot of the seasoning is quite high already.
Yeah.
Just from the ingredients, the miso. Yeah. But I'm just going to put a little bit of salt on the lobster, just right at the end. Okay. So yeah, I think, and the other thing I really like about this dish is, I call it drunk lobster trivet noodles. It's pasta, but it's kind of somewhere in between. It's not really a pasta dish. And I think one of the best kind of reassurances of that I got was kind of one of our really good friends of the restaurant, really good kind of regular guest. And we did this dish during lockdown as an at-home kind of dish. And he sent me some video of him doing it. And, he hardly kind of cooked the noodles at all. And he left like a lot of stock there. Yeah. And he ate it with chopsticks, and he goes like, I think I'm gonna do it this way. I'm like, perfect. That couldn't be better.
It's lovely.
Okay. So we're just gonna dress it a little bit. Okay.
And then the sauce and the oil just to finish. Lovely.
Love this jug.
Look at that.
There we are.
And then you've got the oil. What's in the oil?
So this is just parsley oil.
Wonderful.
We'll just finish it with a bit of that.
So give us the name of this dish.
This is drunk lobster trivet noodles.
Jonny Lake, everybody. Right, I'm looking forward to this. It looks amazing. It smells amazing. And dare I say, you've got something special in a bottle as well.
Yeah. So we're gonna serve warm sake with this. This is a daijinjo. It's called Silk Dragon.
So where is this brewed in Japan then? I suppose it is. Yeah.
Yes.
You have this warm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is brewed to be. I mean, it's good both ways, but this one's brewed to be drunk warm.
This though, it's equal match to this. The flavors are so fresh. That's the great thing about it. Noodles are delicious.
Thank you. I think. Let's have a look here.
It's good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Happy with that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good.
Jonny Lake, everybody. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's never tasted anything like that. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, really.
Chef Dipna Anand will be taking over the kitchen duties very shortly. She's going to be outside on the pizza oven. And I'll be treating Grace Dent to a steamed Shin of Beef pudding a little bit later. But join me again after the break, where I'll be serving a classic dish in the kitchens of one of the most famous trains in the world. It's up in Scotland, and it looks and tastes amazing. I'll see you in a bit. This is pretty special. Welcome back. Now I'll be giving you a crash course in dips in this week's Little Masterclass, and I'll be laying on a Shin of Beef pudding for Gracie Dent a little bit later. Right, it's time to take a look back at one of my favourite ever food adventures. This week I'm in Edinburgh, where I'm meeting up with my old mate Nick Nairn for a once-in-a-lifetime journey on board the Royal Scotsman. This was pretty special. Enjoy this one. Today, I'm in Bonnie, Scotland, and the launch pad of this epic adventure begins in Edinburgh, at Waverley Station. Waiting for me is my mate and top chef, Nick Nairn.
Hey!
I made it.
What's happening?
I knew you like trains. I love trains. My grandparents used to live on trains and work on trains. This is going to be on your bucket list. The Royal Scotsman.
The Royal Scotsman?
We're going on
joking.
it. By the way, you're supposed to meet me with a bunch of flowers. It is pretty impressive, isn't it?
This is...
The smile on your face. On you go. This is going to be great.
Fantastic.
We leave Scotland's capital, Edinburgh, and head north across the River Forth towards Perth and the Scottish Highlands. We'll be visiting artisan producers at Cymru and Port of Menteith and the Grand Palace of Scone along the way, all the while enjoying luxury train travel and stunning scenery. This is all right, isn't it?
This is very swish.
It's a nice way to travel.
I like this.
We're about to meet Operations Manager Frederick Lassine to tell us more about this exclusive train. Thank you.
Yeah, listen, cheers. Tell me a little bit about the history of the Royal Scotsman.
Of course. Well, we've been around since 1985. So it started as a set of leased carriages that's taking your friends up north and travelling through estates and wining and dining all the finest things that life has to offer, really.
Yeah. And all the cabins they've got showers. I mean, there's everything you want, really.
We'd like to think that you have all the amenities you'd have in any five-star hotel. So you're home away from home, really.
When you have a trainload of people needing to eat restaurant-quality breakfast, lunch and dinner aboard, you need a kitchen. And there's only one way to see how it's done properly: work in it. Right, I wanted to do this dish, and the kind guys in the kitchen have let me just borrow this part of the kitchen before service really commences. And I thought I'd do something 1920s, very Art Deco, retro sort of thing. Duck à l'orange with Duchess potatoes. This is a fantastic dish, but it's really simple. First thing I'm going to do is get the duck on the go. Nice little duck breast. Just going to score this slightly over the fat, straight into the pan. And this is going to cook in the pan. No fat, really, for this one, because what you're going to do is render down that fat in there. We'll lose that out of the way. Wash my hands. Look at that. I've actually got a sink here. Bit of salt, bit of black pepper, and we're going to cook that with a nice little bit of colour just on the skin side. Now, I'm going to serve this classically with Duchess potatoes. These have just been baked, really, and they've been passed through a ricer. And what we're going to do is just warm these up, and while they're in there, bit of seasoning, bit of salt, bit of pepper. There we go. Some nutmeg is the crucial bit to this. Now, this is a fantastic potato dish that I wanted to do on this trip, particularly on this train, because it's one of the dishes that the last time I did it was at college, to be honest with you. It tastes amazing. Get it warmed up,
And then we take egg yolks. Now, you need to do this while it's warm, not hot. And this will enrich it. Now, we're going to mix all this lot together, and you see the egg yolks change the colour of it. Quick taste. That is delicious. And you want to fill up your piping bag, which is easier said than done on here, to be honest with you. But what we do is just press our spuds down like that. And then what you're doing is creating a little nest. So you start off. Now, if you are going to do this on a train, it's much easier to do this when the train pulls in and stops. Another one. It's getting quite warm in this kitchen now, to be brutally honest with you. So once you've got to that stage, you can grab a little bit of melted butter. Also, what you can do with this is you can fill it with a little bit of tomatoes, de-seed them and de-skin them. Like that. Touch of shallot. Not too much. And a bit of tarragon. Mix this all up. Salt and pepper. Take your nice little bit of tomatoes like this, stuff it in the centre. Now, you can do this before it's cooked or after it's cooked. It's entirely up to you. A little bit of butter. And then this, with our duck, can go in the oven. So take this and this over here and put it in the oven. So pop the duck in there, the little Duchess potatoes. Both of them are going to take about 5 minutes. So next up, what we're going to do is going to take our orange. And this is our sauce part of it. And for that, we're going to take a little bit of orange zest. What we want to do with this is basically make sure this is nice and thin, or as thin as you can get it on a train. Which that'll have to do, to be brutally honest with you. It's as good as it's going to get. And then with our orange other parts, what we're going to do is take our segments. So you can then just peel this. And when you're peeling it, follow the shape of the orange. So you end up with an orange shape. Otherwise, you end up with a square orange. Then we take our segments. So once you've got the segments, we keep the juice, which you get out of this bit, and into the sauce as well. We're going to add a bit of brandy, a bit of orange liqueur, which I might have a drink of in a minute, and some of this veal stock. See you in a minute. That's ready as well. So we've got the little Duchess potatoes, the duck. Take this off. Then, we don't want this fat. Get rid of that. Pan on the stove. Very, very simply, what we're going to do now is just use a little bit of brandy. Get that in there, just a little bit. A little bit of orange liqueur. Same time now, put the zest in, and then we deglaze it with this veal stock. You can buy veal stock now from the supermarket. It's much easier for you. Like that. Veal stock goes in. Bit of orange. This is where you put the orange juice in. We can take a little knob of butter. So what you want to do now is get all the gubbins off the pan. This is all the bits that are stuck to the bottom of the pan. This is a wonderful, wonderful little dish, this. And one that really harks back to a time that is so special. So then when your sauce is about there, then we take the orange segments now. They're going to go straight in the pan. You don't put those in at the beginning, otherwise they're just going to go to a load of mush, really. And then it's a matter of serving it. We can grab our plate. And we take our nice little bit of Duchess potatoes. Then, you take your duck. And then, of course, you take your amazing orange sauce. It's a wonderful little sauce, classic duck à l'orange. There's nothing better. So there you have it, a classic dish, duck à l'orange with Duchess potatoes. Cheers.
An oldie, but a goodie. Delicious.
the Royal Scotsman, an amazing train, an amazing journey, and one that I'll never, ever forget. It's beautiful, beautiful part of the world as well. There's plenty more food on the way this morning, including a recipe from Dipna Anand and a steamed pudding I'll be serving for Grace Dent. But I'll see you back here in a few minutes when we've got a masterclass in dips. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be laying on lunch for my guest, Grace Dent, and Chef Dipna Anand will be treating me to her chicken tikka burgers. I'm looking forward to that one. But first, it's time for this week's Little Masterclass. And I thought this week we'd take a look at a variety of different dips, because this is great as a little starter, but they're great nibbles that you can enjoy. And I'm going to do 4 of them, really, from different parts of the world. So I'm going to go to America, I'm going to go to France, I'm going to go to Spain, and I'm going to go to Italy, really, for all these. So the first thing we're going to visit is America, ranch dressing. A proper ranch dressing. You need plenty of herbs, and plenty of herbs like this. So what we're going to do is start off. I've got some parsley, I've got some mint, I've got some chives. Now, I think you really need 2 of these at least. You certainly need mint and parsley. It's up to you whether you want to put the chives in there, but they're the ones that you're going to need first, I think, more than anything. So we take our nice little herbs, and we put plenty of them. And these are going to go into our blender, like that. Fill it all up. We're going to blend these down. Same time. So there's obviously different types of ranch dressings that you can get, that you can enjoy and taste. Blue cheese you can add to it as well, but this is the one that I'm sort of familiar with the old herbs, buttermilk, onions and garlic. So fill it all up. Plenty of herbs. You know, this is American, so we don't go tight on anything. Fill it. So once that's blending away nicely, in here I've got a combination of some garlic and some onions. Now you can blend these in this blender as well if you want, but I've just helped it along and blended these anyway. But we're just going to blend all this all together. So I've got some garlic, that's going to go in there. And I've got some onion, that's going to go in. And then we use a little bit of Henderson's relish, a little bit of Worcester sauce if you wanted to, but just a nice little glug of that. And then buttermilk. Pour the buttermilk in. There we go. Now this is where you can change the recipe slightly. You can add things like blue cheese if you wanted to, a little bit of creme fraiche possibly, but season it up. Some salt. And also with dressings and dips, don't be frightened with seasoning, particularly salt. This is where you're going to get the predominant flavour in. You're not going to season anything that you dip in, so it needs to come from this. We're just going to blend this all together. Now, you don't have to have that many herbs in if you want. You don't have to have the herbs in it if you don't want, but this is the one that I like. So you blend. Now, the more liquid you add to this, of course, the more of it becomes a dressing rather than a dip. Let's take this off. I'm going to pour that into our little pot. But you want it to be sort of a dip, like that. So you've got your beautiful little ranch dressing. That's the first one, really. I'll put that off to one side. Now, the next one, we're going to visit France. Classic mayonnaise for this one. So I'll just put the lid on this one back again. So a mayonnaise, we're going to do it in the smaller machine. Always starts with egg yolks, a little bit of Dijon mustard. Now, we never use English mustard in mayonnaise. It's usually Dijon mustard, so a good dollop of Dijon mustard. Now, there's always an acid in mayonnaise, and that comes in the form of vinegar or a little bit of lemon. It's entirely up to you whether you add it now or you add it later, but it must have it in. What you do is you blend this first of all, and then we gradually pour in oil. Now, the oil that you use is quite important. Usually, not always, it's vegetable oil, because it doesn't contain any flavour, as in it's quite a bland oil, and it's what you add to the mayonnaise which makes the difference. And the misconception is the more oil you add, the thinner it gets. It actually does the opposite. The more oil you add, the thicker it gets. And 2 egg yolks, 3 egg yolks, if I kept going, we'll probably add this entire bottle of oil. But you gradually add in it now. You can see as it starts to get thicker, I'm adding the oil much quicker. But there's another dip you can make like this, which is salad cream, made exactly the same way using hard-boiled egg yolks. Exactly the same way as I'm doing now, with mustard, vinegar. But instead of raw egg yolks at a base, it's hard-boiled egg yolks. Like that. See, now the oil's going much, much quicker. I can add it to it. As it starts to get thicker. And if you see, I'll just show you what it looks like. You can see straight away, look at that. Nice and thick and rich. Now, you can then offset this, as in the thickness, by adding a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of lemon. It's entirely up to you, but a touch of vinegar is good. I think with this, a little bit of lemon also does help. Just a touch of lemon in there. That's obviously adding moisture to it as well, so it's slackening it down again. And now we add the garlic. So this has been roasted. This has been roasted in the oven for about sort of 30 minutes. We roast it in tin foil, and when we squeeze it, it's got this amazing pulp of garlic, which is amazing into this dressing. Now, you don't have to roast it. You can simply take the garlic cloves and just boil them in milk. And by boiling them in milk, you lose a lot of that garlic strength, that sort of garlic breath sort of flavour of garlic, but you get a beautiful smooth flavour of garlic, which is what you want. So we can put the lid back on, and we can go again. Blend it again. And add a little bit more oil. So if you wanted to with this, you can add a little bit of tomato to it. Anything you want really in flavourings, but you've got the base of the mayonnaise. Season it, of course, like you want to do with all dressings. Plenty of black pepper, some salt. It's a good idea to use table salt to sort of season this rather than sea salt, because obviously you just end up with crystals in it. And once you get to that stage, that is that one done. We can then lift this off. I mean, this is absolutely delicious as a beautiful dressing. You can take this and you can turn it into a lovely Caesar salad dressing, exactly the same I've made, but I would put the addition of a little bit of creme fraiche folded through it, something like that. It's also delicious. If you can use buttermilk as well, thick buttermilk, that's also brilliant with this one. But you can take your nice little dressing and we can pop that into our little pot. Look at that, lovely and rich, creamy. And that's the colour from the egg yolks that you're using as well. So try and get really nice eggs, but don't worry if it's white, because that's what it should be anyway. Simple as that. But that's your little garlic mayonnaise. Classic from France. Next one, visit Spain. This one's one of my favourite really dressings, this. You start off with some bread, and we want some slices of bread. Now, you can use any bread you want really for this one, but we just take some slices, and what we want to do is just remove the crusts from this, like that, and then all I'm going to do is pop them into a blender and blend them up. So this is a Romesco sauce from Spain. So you can take your blender, pop the bread in it, centre parts of the bread out as well, like that. I'd rather use the middle bits than the crust really for this one, but we blend it. Start that blending first of all, and then we have the addition of other ingredients. So while that's blending, we can then look at the other ingredients. I've got some almonds, I've got some hazelnuts, I've got garlic, I've got smoked paprika, a little bit of oregano. Sherry vinegar is the key for this one. Really good quality of olive oil, and then some peppers. And what we do now is we can start adding this to the blender. So you can put your almonds in. Now you can toast the almonds if you want. But they're going in. So the almonds. Pop the garlic in. Pop the hazelnuts in. A little bit of smoked paprika. You can get the hot and the sweet one for this one. It's entirely up to you which one you use. One's a little bit more spicy than the others. A little bit of oregano. You can use marjoram if you want as well. You can even use the dried one. It's entirely up to you. But this is a great dressing. It's fantastic on its own as a dip, but it's wonderful with things like fish as well. Beautiful, beautiful bit of roasted fish with this. It's delicious. Or mackerel, things like that. It's absolutely fantastic. So peppers. Now you can put tomatoes in it if you wanted to, or a combination of the two, but wood roasted peppers. Again, bit of table salt, black pepper, a good smidgen of good quality olive oil. There we go. And then some sherry vinegar. This is the key to it. A nice dollop of sherry vinegar. It's wonderful blend. You end up with this amazing, rich, sort of red pesto-y sort of stuff that's so famous in Spain. But use this as a base. It's really, really simple. That's it. You've now done it. Lift this off. Like that. You can have it as coarse or as smooth as you want. It's entirely up to you. Then we take our little pot and fill that one. With your nice little Romesco. Really, really simple again. And then one final one, a quick one, which we've got in here, is a little bit of pesto. Now, I always find the best way to make pesto is the old classic way in a pestle and mortar. Pesto is garlic, it's basil, it's a little bit of pine nuts, it's a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And what I do is get a pestle and mortar and grind it all down like that. And you get this amazing paste from it. Now, with the garlic as well, we can then put a little bit of garlic in there. It's entirely up to you how much garlic you want to put in. Take a little bit of garlic. That's going to go in. Some pine nuts. They can either be just plain pine nuts. They can be toasted. Again, it's entirely up to you. And then a little bit of Parmesan cheese. That's going to go in. And the great thing about pestle and mortar is you get this rough surface to it. And it retains its colour. So many times when you make a pesto in a blender, it goes very light in colour. And it only goes darker until you put it in the fridge for a while. But I love the purity of this, the simplicity of it. And then once you get to that stage, you don't have to crush it again. You can carry on like this and get much finer and much fancier. All we can do is take a good glug of olive oil. Look at that. A nice glug of olive oil, mix this together, and you get this beautiful colour. Look at the colour that you get from that. Absolutely amazing. Again, season it. Salt and pepper. And then we get our final dish, and we can transfer this into our dish as well. Now, you can actually take this pesto and blend it with a little bit of mayonnaise as well. You've got a little bit of Italy and a little bit of France mixed together. But there you have sort of 4 amazing dips. But then not forgetting what you want to do with these dips. You want to serve it with these things. I mean, I love these. These are breakfast radishes. To me, they're just absolutely fantastic. And wherever possible, leave them with the tops on. But breakfast radishes, these are the sort of long, pointy radishes. I grow these in the garden. But they're just delicious. And if you ever get the opportunity to grow your own stuff, and you can grow it in a greenhouse, you can grow it on a windowsill, you don't need a garden, really. You can grow radishes anywhere, really, in a bucket outside. But they grow so easily. But fresh radishes, they've got this whack of moisture and pepper that you don't really get from, dare I say, supermarket radishes. And then I've got some carrots, which we can then slice these up. These are beautiful heritage carrots that you want to cut up like that. And we slice them up. You can see the colours of the heritage carrots. They can go all around there. And then what I love in dips are this. This is chicory. And what I like about chicory is you've got this bitterness that goes with any of these dips, but you've almost got a natural spoon. You can dunk it in and spoon out your dressings and fillings and that kind of stuff. So you've got beautiful chicory and different types of chicory as well. You've got the red one, you've got the Italian one. Usually with chicory as well, they can be quite bitter, and it really lends itself really nicely with this. There's a nice little sort of dip or a dressing like that. Put plenty around it. And then finally, if you wanted to, take some bread, which I've got over there. Some beautiful, beautiful bread that I've just made some croutons with. It's like that. And then whichever one you wanted to, you can just dunk these in whatever you wanted. But you've got lovely thin pieces of bread that you can either use as a nice little dip, or stick them in there. But there you have it, sort of 4 dips, nice and simple, from all corners of the globe. Hopefully, you'll try them and enjoy them as much as I do. Bon appetit. There you go. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about, and a little Mascast, they're only applauding because they want to eat some, then do get in touch. We'll see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break, but join me again in a couple of minutes when Dipna Anand will be treating me and this crew to a delicious Indian burger. I'm looking forward to that one. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now I'll be making my steamed Shin of Beef puddings for Grace Dent very shortly. But first, it's time for another recipe from a Saturday morning regular. It's the brilliant Dipna Anand. Wonderful to have you back.
So good to be here.
Brought your dad as usual. Dad's in the other kitchen.
You invited Dad in to say thank you.
Exactly. So, and basically, what's your dad doing first of all?
So Dad is in charge of frying some chips.
Yeah.
And putting some masala on my chips. And then he is also going to be frying some potato bhajia, which is a crispy onion bhaji style snack.
Okay. So what are you doing then?
I am going to be making some banging tandoori chicken burgers. These are proper
looking forward to this
banging.
then.
So what we need to do to begin with is we have a bowl here. We're going to make a yogurt marination. So I'm going to start with some yogurt in my bowl. Now I use chicken thighs for the burgers. You can use breast if you want to be healthier. Really works with lamb as well. So ginger garlic paste goes in as well.
So you blend in the ginger and garlic paste, then
So that's ginger and garlic, fresh in equal amounts, just put into a little coffee grinder with a little bit of water, and you get that nice texture. Some green chilli to make it nice and spicy. I am going to go in with some red chilli as well. So the green is obviously the one that you get on the tip of your tongue, and then the red chilli comes afterwards. So we combine.
Now, we talked about, well, we've talked briefly about your restaurants and bits and pieces when you were on, but tell us, everybody, about your main restaurant, the one that your dad's, well, dad's in charge of, you're in charge of, mum's in charge of everything, to be honest with you. So tell us about the restaurant in London, then.
So, well, Southall has been around the restaurant in Southall has been around for 45 years, and then I have the new one in London. Exactly. Which is absolutely amazing. Only been, a few months since we opened, but it's really taken off with a bang.
In Somerset House?
In Somerset House, Dipna Somerset House, and it's going really, really well.
Right, what spices are you putting in there then?
So I have added some turmeric for colour, I've added some red chilli, I've added my dad's favourite garam masala, some coriander powder, some cumin powder, as well, and then just going to go in with some salt as well, and then just to flavour this, I'm going to add some methi, which is the dried fenugreek, my favourite herb. I also went in with some lemon juice.
It's fantastic, this, really fragrant, isn't it?
Yeah, and then just for colour, I mean, this is optional, just a pinch of orange food colouring in there as well. And then all you do, this is simple, this is really easy, works with actually any meat. This marinade works perfectly. I also added just a little bit of oil as well. Vegetable oil is perfect, olive oil or vegetable oil. Right. And then you get this really nice, vibrant, delicious marinade. Even like paneer tikka, so you can do like a paneer tikka steak. So you could cut big paneer chunks that are suitable for vegetarians as well. Right. And then that is perfect. And then all I am doing is keeping this really simple, just bunging in my thighs. Let me get some gloves on.
But you're keeping so busy. You've got the 2 restaurants now. What's it? You've got the little cookery schools that you do as well.
Yeah.
You're busy doing that. Isn't right? You got another book on the horizon.
Yeah. I've been asked to. When is book number 3 coming out? So book number 3 is coming really, really soon. I've been working hard on it. So really looking forward to do that. And then, yeah, that works really well in conjunction with my cookery courses as well. You need to leave this to marinate for about, well, 30 minutes to an hour, preferably overnight if you can. Here is some I done earlier. Yeah. So I've just put it into a tray, and I'm going to use your pizza oven just to get that in there. I'm just going to put it on the side there because I know how fast that is from last time. And so I hope Dad is frying my chips there because I will be needing them really soon. Dad's bringing that chicken. This is the 3rd time. This is what I mean about Dad, right? He's not following my instructions again.
He's on his way. He's on his way.
Right, so I'm going to start with... Put these here.
Here comes Dad.
Building the burgers now.
I'll let you go through there.
Yes, thank you.
I'll tell you what, that looks all right.
Dad, do you want to put it down here?
Put that here.
So I'm sure... Oh, they look really good.
Yes, they're all done.
Okay, I am going to grab this.
Chips, shall I put that there?
Thanks. Dad, what about the bhajia?
The bhajia I'm just bringing.
Okay.
I can only carry...
Come on, Dad, go on.
I gave him 3 tasks, only 3 tasks.
Right.
So what I'm doing is putting these in here.
So hold on a sec. That's the chicken that you put in there.
Yes.
We've got the ones that have been warming through.
Yeah, these have been warming through.
How long have you cooked those through in the oven?
So it's just in a normal oven. It takes about 35 to 40 minutes. These are thighs, so they cook a little bit quick. So just gonna put that down here.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to get this. My cheese, just slices on top here. Of the
So you actually do it like a burger with cheese on the top as well?
Just make it a little bit
Love it.
rustic. Just cheddar cheese is fine. I'm not going to put that all the way in. Oh, wow, these are looking so good. I think these might cook even quicker.
Yeah, it's a quick oven.
I'm not going to take my eye off that.
Right.
James, watch that, yeah?
Okay.
No setting up.
So you've got 2 people looking after your food
No
now.
setting up.
So 2 of you looking after your food. You're basically letting us all run around after you. He's back again.
Yeah.
Right, here we are.
Yeah.
So these are
Dad,
Dad's favourite.
You grab a seat in the corner there. There you
Wow,
go. You grab a seat. You've got a nice seat in the corner for you. You know.
Oh, wow.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
Whoa.
That's, you look at home there. Look at that.
This is good.
Perfect. Now, when are we going to get these burgers? Hurry up.
He's making himself comfortable. The cheese is just melting.
About time.
The cheese is just melting. This looks so good. Right. I am going to now put this on top of here, like this. The cheese is
So,
just
Dad, what
melted.
do you think of your daughter when you see her cooking on TV? What do you think? Must be proud, no?
I am. She's made me very proud. And I enjoy watching her.
Yeah.
Right in front of me. These are
I love it how you try to ignore him behind you. I love it.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
You are.
This is potato bhajia. So what it is, potato discs. Yeah, potato, you know.
Potato,
Just like butter, you know, but
what
potato
do you do with
bhajia.
those?
So they're dipped in a gram flour batter.
Right.
And then deep fried. Oh, Dad's done quite a good job on these. Look. Nice and crispy, there you go.
Okay.
And then 2 sauces on this. So this is Dipna, which is masala mayonnaise.
Right.
So a little bit of that on there. And on there. The 2 sauces work really well. So Dipna, which is masala mayo with the red chilli and the cumin powder. And then this is some tamarind chutney on there, so you get the sweet and sour.
You like your tamarind chutney, though, don't you?
I love it. I love the stuff. So does Dad. Oh, you know, Dad puts tamarind on top of rice and curry. That's how he eats.
I love that.
We know.
But it has got an amazing flavour, hasn't it?
It has.
It's got a really umami sort of flavour from it as well. It's really nice.
They don't call these banging tandoori burgers for no reason. There you go. Right. That just sits on there. Green chilies deep fried, just to hold the burger together, like this. And just makes it look so much, you know, cooler.
I love that.
And then we have my plate here. Those are wicked, I can hear them.
That's all right.
Right. And then I'll give you the biggest. Which is the biggest one? There you go. I'm going to put that there.
What's so special about these chips, then? Tell me about the chips.
So these are chips like never before.
Right.
We just sold, like, at one of the venues, 4,000 portions of the masala fries. It was...
Okay. Wow.
They're really Moorish. They're delicious. It's
So what dips have you got with that as well?
Like
that
never
looks
before.
amazing,
So
I have to say.
that is the masala mayo, and then that is the tamarind chutney. And
so give us the name of this dish then.
The name of this dish is a banging tandoori chicken burger with masala fries.
Dipna, Anand, everybody. Yeah. Right, I'm looking forward to this. I've got no knives and forks, so I'm assuming I've got the wrong shirt on to be eating this sort of stuff.
Yeah, you might want to put a little bib something.
Okay, can I have a taste of this then? Well, I'll put a little bit of a bib. So this is good. This is just going to go everywhere, isn't it?
Yes.
I can see this.
You have to do it the desi way with your hands.
You have to do it what way?
The Indian way.
The Indian way with your hands?
Yeah, I'm going to get these ones out as well because these are done and they look amazing.
Okay. I can see Dad. Look at Dad. He's like right at home there. I tell you what, they look amazing. Look at them.
They look so good.
I've got to taste these chips first. Yeah, these are good chips, aren't they?
Moorish.
What spices are in these again?
32 different. Shall I name them all?
No. I'm just asking. Just asking. You don't eat the chilli then, do you?
No, it's just for show. I mean, you can. There's just a deep fried chili, of course, quite spicy.
This is absolutely delicious. Really tasty, isn't it?
It is.
And you're actually better off. I think you mentioned chicken thighs. I think you're better off with chicken thighs.
Yeah, because it's nice and
keeps
moist.
the moisture in, doesn't it? Right?
Yeah, yeah. Surprisingly, I've done this with breast as well, and even the breast is so flavoursome just because of that marinade.
It's proper moist, but like you say, that tamarind, that makes all the difference, doesn't it, on there? You get some real amazing flavour. That I have to say, with the chips, is pretty special. Dipna and a Dad, everybody. Yeah. That's amazing, absolutely amazing. Dad, you just look at home there. I love this. All right, still to come. We've got time for one more final dish, but join me again after the break for a show-stopping steamed pudding for Grace Dent. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back now to the last part of the show, but I'm back in the kitchen with my fabulous guest, the one and only Grace Dent. Like a ray of sunshine you are in here. So we're going to do we've done the turbot you had earlier. We're going to do a Shin of Beef because you like your. Although we're going to talk about the veganism and all that kind of stuff now, but you do like this slow cooking, proper cooking, as I call it. Don't you?
I like the tastes that remind me of my childhood, and we certainly didn't eat any meat rare. Or, you know, everything was just...
It was cooked.
Slow, I mean, slow cooked.
The best, yeah. Well, I was brought up on a farm, exactly the same thing. So we're going to do this how my family used to do it. We just take... we've got some celery, I've got some leek, I've got some carrot, and nothing fancy. You can almost take the celery and that's it.
Yes.
So the celery, the leek gets chopped up, the carrot... But no need to dice everything up because you dice it afterwards. So the whole point about this is it cooks, it stews down, it breaks down, carrot thrown in. We've got a little bit of rosemary, some thyme, that kind of stuff. Bit of garlic if you wanted to, just a whole clove of garlic in there, that's fine. And then we take the Shin of Beef, like that. And we're going to sort of pot roast this, so there's no need to seal it. We're going to use a little bit of red wine. And then some stock. You can use water, but what you want to do is just almost 3/4 cover this. And then you can roast it with a lid or without the lid. If you roast it without the lid, it'll brown on the top. But the idea is, as it sort of cooks, it all melts down and braises down nicely, because chefs nowadays will put this in a bag.
Yes.
And it tastes like it's been in a bag. But you put that over the top, and then you pot roast this for about 3 to 4 hours. Just leave it cooking away in the oven. Now, what you end up with after that, and you allow it to cool down, chop everything up, is this mixture over here. Season it up, add a little bit of parsley.
OK.
That's that, all right? So then we're going to talk about our pastry, which is flour, suet, mixed together with water. This is your suet pastry, basically, that we've got on over here. Now, you mentioned your childhood. We didn't mention this earlier on, but I was reading a little bit about you last night, and you said you didn't even taste garlic until the 80s. That wasn't at home back then.
I don't even know if it was the 80s. It was maybe the early 90s. We certainly never had a garlic bulb in our house, I don't think, in the 80s. But I mean, yeah, well, look, I will always have a soft spot for plain food done well. And also, I hate to say this, big portions, enough food. And, you know, I'm always a little bit disappointed as I'm leaving somewhere when I'm, you know, in London. And you really, you do leave hungry in a lot of places. You've had a lot fragments and smears and technique.
Deconstructed. I don't like deconstructed.
Yeah, an autopsy. They've taken it all to bits to see if it's any better.
No, it's interesting. We've got Jonny here at the house today as well. The fat duck, the legendary fat duck.
Yes.
It is an amazing. It's a gastronomic, a worldwide gastronomic capital. Now done his own thing in London. It's amazing. But out of all the places, and I've been wanting to ask you this, and I asked Jay about this, and he didn't actually tell me.
Yeah, we hate answering questions about...
I'm going to ask you, where is your favourite place to eat? Not as in... Not as in, do you know, as you've critiqued to go, that was mega.
OK, I'm under a lot of pressure. I'm going to give you an answer. It's in Wales. But what I would say to anybody watching is don't think that you can just pop in and out, because it's not a 7-course tasting menu or even a 12 or a 16 or an 18. He might have you there for 25, you know, and it's...
31, I think.
31.
This is Gareth Ward we're talking about.
Which I always say is technically kidnap, because you can't... He's got you. But he makes everything... He's a very down-to-earth man. Yeah. And he is a maverick. And he does his own thing.
He'll be on the phone to me after this going, no, it's brilliant. It's nice of you to say that, because people, food critics, they refrain from saying that. And I think it's nice for people to see your opinion and to go, do you know what I mean?
It's hard because to say what I love, because there's always another place. This is, as you know, as a chef, you're opening and you get people's attention, but you know there's 150 other openings that year. And for me, I'm always thinking about the last 2 or 3 dinners I've had. So people ask me, they say, what's your favourite place? At the moment, for example, I love a place in just near to Selfridges in central London called BB. But that's right now, you know, that's where I love now. And then in 3 more meals' time, it might change again. I am so... Sorry to change the subject.
What's that?
I am so excited about this onion. And I know that it's... and I was talking about veganism and loving vegetables, and this really sums it up to me.
Well, it's
I do eat a bit of meat, because I do through my job, but this is just special and sweet and life-transforming.
Well, it is the Roscoff onion. I mean, you know about the Roscoff onion area of France, amazing area of France. If you're ever in that neck of the woods, particularly this time of year, you've got to Google it. Yeah. They have an onion festival. These are the classic onions. Your famous onion seller. They were called Johnny's, I think, at one point. They used to come around the UK and sell onions door to door. These are the ones on the bike, the stereotypical ones with the blue and white striped T-shirt, that kind of stuff. With a string of onions, these would always be Roscoff onions, the best onions in the world. But you were here, and you're here to talk about lots of different things. We mentioned the podcast earlier. Yes. Those people who have never heard you on the podcast, explain to a little bit about it, because you're like this place. You actually do this in your house as well.
Yeah, I make a podcast called Comfort Eating in my own house. And it's we get people like Stephen Fry and Russell Tovey and Dave from the Hairy Bikers and Joe Brand, and they come and tell me what they actually eat in their own house when no one's watching. It's things that you cobble together that give you comfort.
What is yours, then? What's yours?
Right. I always feel embarrassed when I say this, and this is where it came from. It's oven chips.
Nothing wrong with that.
With vinegar, mint sauce, and powdered gravy. And lots of salt.
You do realise the next time you walk into a restaurant, you're going to get that powdered gravy granules over the top?
Yeah, because, I mean, we're talking about something that's cobbled together when nobody's looking. And I think that over the years, I think I must have eaten chips and I must have put mint sauce on them. And in my mind, I've begun to create this awful recipe. I feel every time I explain that I eat this, I can feel my face getting hot. And that is why I decided to make a podcast about it, because I thought the moment that people start to explain anything about their personal eating habits, you always get the real them. You know, they're not hiding anymore, and they're talking about what's really in their fridge and the cereal they really like, and what that means about when they went to school and their relationship with their mother. And I just love doing the podcast, and people seem to love it. So I'm enjoying it.
I think it's a great subject. I think it's one that's, well, close to a lot of people's heart, isn't it, really? But it's great. And like you said, if food's a great barrier breaker, then people will just open up about things. It's fantastic.
Are you piping mushy peas?
Yeah. This is how my life has changed. It's not mushy peas, though, Gracie. It's not mushy peas. These are fresh peas. But what we do is these. You take these... I mean, you can take the central parts of these out, but these are the little pieces of onion, like that.
How long do you poach an onion to make it so soft?
That's gone in the pan for about 40 minutes.
OK.
Something like that, but you
So it's all about patience?
Yeah, you just put them in the oven, and, yeah, great thing about it, you can open them out in like little petals, like this.
You're seeing Roscoe onions more and more on menus at the moment. They're becoming, I hate the word trendy, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
They're becoming a little bit trendy.
Well, they are, but they're one of these things that should never fall out of fashion as well, but
yeah.
I think they're beautiful. Just onions like that, cooked in the skins. The sauce has been reduced down, and then all we do is you take our little sauce, and then this is the money shot over the top. But you take this beautiful, rich sauce over the top.
Have you ever thought about taking that beautiful, rich sauce and putting it on some oven chips with some mint sauce?
I thought about it, but then you destroyed it with your onion gravy granules. we could maybe think of a recipe, but I don't know. You've just ruined it with the gravy granules, I think. But
who has time to make gravy from scratch when they're in their pyjama bottoms
it's in a
at 9:30?
A pack of stock already from the supermarket. I've made it in about 2 minutes, so no excuse. The steamed punch pudding takes a little bit longer, but don't worry about the pipe mushy peas. You can just dollop it with an ice cream scoop if you want. If you want to be Gracie, there you go. Done.
Wow.
Gracie Dent, my second dish.
Oh my gosh.
For you today. Dive into that. It's a tough life bit of food, critic, isn't it?
It's difficult. It's difficult, but I struggle on. I struggle on.
Tell me what you think of the sauce. Taste a lot of the sauce with it. Oh.
Oh, that's suet, though. The suet paste. I just need some time alone now. Carry on talking.
It's been a pleasure having you at the house today, and everybody loves what you put when you put pen and paper as well. But best of luck with whatever you're doing. Best of luck with the podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the rest of your pudding. There's another one once you finish that as well. All right, there you go. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests: Josiah Meldrum, Dipna Anand, Jonny Lake, and of course the fabulous Gracie Dent. We'll see you back here at the same time next Saturday morning. We'll be joined by more top chefs, other brilliant guests. Until then, take care, stay safe, everybody. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye for now.